with the clear and evident main story of the the current era of NHL, and that's Vancouver. 2021 ending with a bang. Okay, Vancouver also getting rid of all of their staff, their head coach, general manager, all gone. Are you surprised?
Yeah.
You're surprised?
No, I was
Oh,
gonna
sorry.
say
I was gonna say. I was gonna
no,
say.
not at all. I don't think anyone should be surprised. I mean, where you saw where they were when they fired these guys, they were 8-15-2. So clearly not in a good spot at all. I think they were bottom of the Pacific at the time of the
Right.
firing. So yeah, something had to be done because they have the player personnel to win games, and we've seen that before in like the 2019-20 season before the pandemic came. Even when it did, they still made in the bubble. They played really well there, so
You're
things
right.
were looking great, and they had all this young core, young players. So yeah, no, clearly it wasn't the players' fault. I don't think it just they didn't look motivated. So
No.
usually when that's the case, it's time for a new coach.
Yeah, definitely needed to change. The replacement for head coach is Bruce Boudreau. Big surprise there.
Hmm.
And Stan Smill, as well as Henrik Sedin, Daniel Sedin, and others have joined in to sort of take care of the hockey operations, general manager position. They're going to be there for now. There are rumors, and we're going to talk about it, and also breaking news that Steven disclosed to me before we even started. We got to keep an eye out on them breaking news because happen anytime. Jim Rutherford apparently a deal is near or is completed. That was about 30 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. So we're still waiting on what
Yeah,
position he
reported
fills in.
by
I think Elliot
yeah, Darren
Friedman.
Dreger was
Oh,
the one.
okay, I'll
Well,
sit
I
back.
mean, we have the TSN post here, and
You're
it's
right.
Darren Dreger.
You're right.
I guess both of them. I mean, both of them for their respective networks. So we'll just say, yeah, hockey insiders have been giving this information out today. It looks like that, yeah, whether it's going to be a GM and president role or just president or some sort of front office role, it looks like, yeah, a deal with Jim Rutherford heading to Vancouver is pretty imminent. At
Yeah,
least by the weekend, I would say it'd be done.
you're absolutely right. I think Darren Dreger is the one that broke it out. And from the career that Jim Rutherford had, he started off in the Hartford Whalers as a president and minority owner to the franchise, as well as president and general manager, all the way to what was it, 2013, 2014, when they were the Carolina
Mm-hmm.
Hurricanes. He decides to flip on them and go with Pittsburgh as the general manager and also vice president of hockey operation for a bit, um, and then full time general manager in 2020 and 2021. Um, so yeah, that's a little summary of him. So, of all things considered, he is leaning towards general manager or hockey operations position. Now, there's also
Mm-hmm.
rumors of maybe Marc Bergevin being um, a potential general manager for the team. That being said, do you think that maybe Vancouver might be looking to do the same things as Montreal? Go ahead and get Jim Rutherford, make him vice president or the hockey operations guy, just like they got Jim Gordon in Montreal, and then get Marc Bergevin to. He's very good. You've seen that Marc Bergevin has that
Mm-hmm.
potential to build and expand a team through surprises, through people that you don't find uh, easily, because usually they are taken very highly with first round draft picks and whatnot. This guy waiver or second round picks, third round picks, whatever. You get big talent players like Dano Petrie. He can bring in players that this team desperately needs. He's good at drafting, and Timmins is also part of that. But nonetheless, you bring him in as a GM, and then you get Rutherford as the hockey ops, and that could possibly be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of rumors going around. I guess rumors are rumors for
That's
that
right.
reason. Whether see the thing is, I think if they do bring, I'm not denying that these rumors are true or not because they can be, right?
Yep.
But I don't know if maybe as an assistant GM, I could see Bergeron fitting that role very well. I
Yep.
mean, we saw with Chicago, he was a good assistant GM there to Dave Talon and the rest of the crew, which led them to winning 3 cups in 6 years and
Yep.
building that core around. So I think maybe an AGM role would be best for him. I've even heard other rumors too. Like this was on Tuesday or Monday, or it might have even been Sunday, like right after the Vancouver basically fire cleaned house. I read something about how like the Leafs assistant GM Gilman, I forget his first name right now, it's escaping me.
Okay.
But he used to be a part of the Canucks front office. Apparently, they are interested in getting him back as well. But if the Leafs, again, with that one, because he's still in under contract with the Leafs, it's all about the Leafs allow him to speak to the Canucks. So the Leafs
Yep.
still hold all the cards in that one. And again, maybe he doesn't want to go to Vancouver, but with Bergevin, yeah, he's a free agent essentially. So if he wants to go there and Vancouver wants him, then hey man, it could all work out. But yeah, I mean with Jim Rutherford coming in, yeah, I think he would suit better as a president because we did see towards the end there with Pittsburgh, maybe again like maybe some of my Pittsburgh friends could
Weigh in.
even chime in on this that like
Yeah.
he's been making some questionable decisions like keeping Matt Murray over Fleury and then later keeping Tristan Jarry over Murray, which I know a lot of people were, but although Jarry this year seems to have figured it out, which is good.
He is doing really
But
well.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, yeah, he is. But yeah, I mean, with Rutherford, I guess, yeah, maybe just keep him as president, like you said, with Montreal having Jeff Gorton as the president there, and no, that one though, I feel like it's a little bit different because I feel like that one leans more on the French speaking side. That's why he isn't the GM, but
Right.
still a great mind to have on the team, and yeah, just make sure the organization has what they need to be successful.
When you look around the league, you wanna get away from just the one mind uh, team. You don't want to have just the general manager be the number one guy to orchestrate the whole thing. You want to have other people support him. You want to have analytics. The Montreal Canadiens, Jeff Gordon came out and said he is in favor in analytics, and that's something you don't hear often. Hoping that Vancouver maybe is one of those teams that moves forward, and I think Bruce Boudreau, who was actually an analyst um, before joining the Vancouver Canucks, brings in a new set of eyes from I don't know if he ever was in a position of being an analyst, but this guy was able to be the media and a coach. Sorry, coach, media, now back to being a coach. And you can see right now he's got two
Mm-hmm.
wins. One was admittedly in a shootout, but or was that overtime? It was they got a
No, it was a
point.
shootout last night over Boston.
There we go.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
everyone
they
got a
won.
point.
They won.
Boston played well, and the goalies played really well. In particular, Bruce Boudreau, everyone's crying out his name. What was the chant again? Oh,
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. They're going, Bruce, there it is.
Bruce, there it is. It's good to see, man. We love to see
Yeah, that
the
one. Oh,
enthusiasm.
well, when I heard that, I was laughing. Yeah,
Um,
it's awesome.
I hope the best for Vancouver, and it's easier when you're winning. It's better than, of course,
Hmm.
when you're losing. That just makes everything worse. Do you think that they're going in the right direction, Stephen?
Well, I mean, they're definitely yes, I do actually. Yeah. I think they're doing the right things. Like obviously ownership realized that there was a problem with the current front office and coaching staff that they had, and just something wasn't working, something wasn't there, especially when you look at what happened last year. Like last year was kind of the beginning of the end, you could say.
Right.
Then this year was just confirmation of the end is here. So clearly ownership saw that they needed to do something, and you're not just going to change your core because they just basically finished rebuilding, right? Like they brought in all these young players that they drafted. They traded for JT Miller. They got Patrick Demko, and like they have all these guys in all these places. Like they seemed like they should be set up for success, but it just wasn't there. So again, like you look at the Leafs 2 years ago, and they had a rough start to the season. Like going into November, we're at or under 500. What happened? Babcock got the boot. They
Yeah.
brought in Keefe. Things start to turn around. So hopefully, this is what Vancouver needs. They've got a new coach now. They've got even a new GM. So like Vancouver took it one step further compared to the Leafs did 2 years ago, right? So
They're going far.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I think these should work. Again, it's all depending on the yeah, it's all depending on like the decisions they make and the players they bring in. And I mean, Bruder, like he's a great. I don't want to say this to sound rude or anything, but he's a very, very good regular season coach. And you look at the teams he coached in Washington; they won Presidents trophies. They were always like a high seed in the Eastern Conference, and they were always able to win the first round. They just couldn't get past the second round, especially Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So, hopefully that's different this time around. Boudreaux, though, with Anaheim, he was able to get them to a conference finals in 2015. And I believe in 2017 as well. I think he was there for, unless Carlisle was around for one of those. I could be wrong.
Could this be a St. Louis situation? You fire your
Oh,
coach.
well,
What do you think?
see that one though with St. Louis. I remember it has the potential to. I mean, again, they've already won two in a row to start off the new coaching tenure for Boudreaux, so it's looking like it has that potential. But yeah, that one with St. Louis, I remember going into the season, at least like myself, I had very high expectations for St. Louis. That like they were going to be like a contender, a strong contender for the cup. Like they just added Ryan O'Reilly.
Yep.
They got a strong decor. I think the only question marks were their goaltending going into that season because it was like, well, does Jake Allen have it in him? And I forgot who their other
It
goalie
was
was at the
Braden
time, but it
Holtby.
wasn't Binnington. Well, no, Holtby was in
No,
Washington.
dude, it wasn't Holtby. Who was it? Who the heck was it? There was that mainstay. Uh, all.
It wasn't Brian Elliott because he was
No, that's
gone that
it.
year.
Brian Elliott. That's Jake Allen and
Yeah, he
Brian
was already in
Elliott.
Phil. That was his first year in Philadelphia.
Mm.
So it was Jake Allen and someone else. I think I don't know, maybe Billy Huso or something like that. I know he's their current backup, but that's what I mean. Like Jake Allen or not Jake Allen.
Binnington?
Jordan Bennington kind of came on in January and had that huge win streak. And I mean, Craig Berube was there as their interim coach. He was an interim coach at the time too, so he wasn't even named head coach
Wow.
until after they won the cup, which was really crazy.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, can they like? Do I think Vancouver could win the cup this year? Probably not. Do I think they can sneak into a playoff spot? There's still a lot of time for that. There's like over 50 games. So, if they get it right, if they get hot, sure, why not? They can make the playoffs.
Does the division
And
allow
then I
it?
guess from that point, anything could happen. Yeah, well, I'm looking at the division standings too for them, like, or even the wild card. I guess the wild card would be 29
They don't
points right
have
now.
any
So they're at
games in
22.
hand.
Yeah, that's another issue as well. Whereas like I'm looking at Dallas. Dallas has 23 games played, and a lot of other teams are like 25, 26, 27.
Yeah.
The West is a
Yeah.
weird one, actually, looking at games played.
Well, the West and the Atlantic got some weird ones. Ottawa with 24, of course, they had their COVID disaster. Boston with 22. That's the weirdest one. Boston with 22 games played.
You know what? I will say this: Boston, if you notice, every year they always have the least amount of games early in the season.
Very strange.
I think that
It's not.
that's just the way they like it. I think they like to have a slow burn at first and then like ramp it up come playoff time, so that maybe going into the playoffs you're already used to playing every other night, like you will be in the playoffs anyways, right? So
Yep.
it's no different. I guess that's how you could say it. And I mean, Boston did win a cup in 2011, although as each day and year passes on, that's getting further and further in the rearview mirror.
It's just sort of lucky they're aging and they don't have to rush with games. They take their time, but also not being able to play a consistent rate versus other teams could also ruin the flow of your game, because you want to be out there, you want to be
Right.
playing, and you're seeing these other teams who have maybe 4 or 5 games ahead of you. It's sort of weird to see,
Hmm.
and like the Boston Bruins are off to a slow start, although they are still strong. They still have a good differential, and the Detroit Red Wings are just up ahead because they have 4 games played. But that's been there for a while
Hmm.
now. That differential that of games played, we need to see it picked up, or I don't know. It just sucks to see that this year is being stretched weirdly.